What is going on, you lovely people? Welcome back to the Finer Things. I'm your host, Ereanna Aulese. Now, today, I'm not going to do a crazy long introduction with the different segments because we're going to go right ahead and get on into this interview that I did with Aaron Cups. But before we get into it, let me just briefly give you a little summary about what you're going to see and what the interview is about. So, Aaron Cups is a multimedia individual that I personally have the pleasure of knowing fairly, not too well, but well enough to where he blessed me. And thankfully, I was able to get him on my podcast because he is such an amazing person. He is a model, but like I said earlier, he's a multimedia individual. So not only is he a model, he is a photographer, he is a power lifter. Okay, he does all of these things. Also a bartender, which a lot of people do, but not everybody can do it. I know I couldn't. So we're going to talk about that in the interview. So let's not waste any time. Remember to follow me at Ereanna Aulese on Instagram and all socials, which is EreannaAulese. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this Aaron Cups interview because it's a good one. What a great guy. What a great interview that I had for you guys. Let's watch it. What is going on, everybody? So we're back here at the Finer Things, and I have a very special guest today, Aaron Cups. I mentioned earlier, I kind of already made the joke, but I'm going to make it again so that people might laugh. But, you know, he kind of favors Jacob from Twilight.
Most definitely.
Do you get that a lot? Is it kind of annoying?
It's always the nice guys. You said what? No, I get it a lot. Sometimes. Yeah, I'm like a lost wolf, but if the remakes come, you already know what's going on. I'm first in line, so.
So you mentioned you had a good day today. We both kind of had a little chat before everything started today, and all is well. So let's get into the interview. I'm very excited that you're here, by the way. Thanks for joining me. I don't know if you had anything else to do today, but I'm very excited to interview you. Kind of a cool guy. Triple threat. You do a lot of things, man. You do a lot of things. And very impressive as well. So you recently just got signed to DragonFly agency, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Congratulations on that. That is huge. That's big. What's been the experience like?
So it's been different. Like going into it, I didn't really know what to expect. Mm-hmm. And it's been really exciting. The opportunities have been really dope. Like kind of seeing behind the scenes of like day to day, you kind of see models everywhere and you don't even think about it. Like you're at Kroger, you're at a department store, you're anywhere. You could be watching an advertisement and you don't know, or at least I'm not thinking about what's going on to make that happen. And being a part of that kind of creative process is really cool. I will say the timing of things was definitely a surprise. Mm-hmm. Everything is because there's so many moving parts to put a team together to make things happen. So you always have to be ready. You never know when things are going to come together, and you never know when your next job is going to be. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's been really cool. It's definitely been a learning experience, and I'm still getting used to it for sure. When did that journey start of you becoming a model? Was that something that you always wanted to pursue, or did it just come like, you know what, let me try this. Let me dip my toes in the water. Yeah, that's a good question. So when I was really little, my mom took me to this like model search at the Grapevine Mills Mall.
I love that.
Yeah, she made me go walk on a runway. I was like 8 or 9, you know what I mean? And she made me dance to Beat It by Michael Jackson with no rehearsal. I didn't know how to moonwalk or anything.
That is
just literally. Oh wait, sorry. Am I allowed to curse? I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. You're good.
We're good. Okay, cool. Yeah. So she just stuck me in front of the whole like food court and like maybe danced to Michael Jackson with a glove and everything. And that kind of, I mean, that thrill has been something that I really enjoyed. And so in high school, I joined theater and acting and modeling kind of go hand in hand in a way. Like when I'm modeling or I'm at a shoot or runway, especially, like I kind of get into character, and it's kind of like a dance. You don't get to express yourself the same way, but that thrill of there being like an audience, that's why I really like runway. it's really exciting. And from there, like, let's see, that's my dream, right? To do acting and stuff, but I want to have something that's secure. Because, like what I was saying earlier, you never know when your next job is going to be.
Right.
There's so many moving parts, things fall through all the time. And so it's a really difficult industry to thrive in.
Uh-huh.
And so having something to fall back on has definitely been important to me. And that's why I'm trying to finish my degree. And even though it's not my number one thing that I would like to do with the rest of my life, it's something that I can do to put bread on the table. You know what I mean?
What's your
And
degree?
mechanical engineering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which has nothing to do with what I really want to do,
Right.
but it's
It's a backup plan, like you
yeah,
said.
and it's
That's
something
good.
secure, and
Right.
that's two parts of my brain. Like I have
Uh-huh.
the creative side, and I really like doing things in that realm, but also I'm a numbers person, and I really like I want to have a family and stuff like that. And
Right.
it's hard to provide for a family if
You don't
you
know
don't
what.
have job security and
Uh-huh.
stuff. So I'm trying to juggle both, and so far it's working out. But
That's
yeah.
cool. Well, speaking of jobs, you just did a shoot for Academy, I believe. Was
Yes.
that your first like name brand shoot? How did that go?
Yeah, so my first like I guess paid photo shoot was
Uh-huh.
for a boutique
Oh,
in
okay.
Dallas called Buddha Girl. They make really nice jewelry.
Oh, I
They're
saw that
cool
too.
and stuff.
Yeah.
But the first like commercial like big brand like department style shoot was Academy. Yeah, and it was really different because at that little boutique it's like a little studio, there's one photographer, there's one
Mhm.
like creative director and stuff,
Right.
but like at Academy it's this huge studio, and I mean just this like the sheer amount of like lights, the people on the team, like even just the size of the campus, it was like awe inspiring. It was kind of cool. But yeah, no, that was my first commercial shoot, and things went really well.
You said it
It
was
was definitely not like
awkward seeing. Sorry to interrupt you. You said it was awkward to see yourself on a website.
it was definitely weird. Like I didn't know if somebody was gonna be like, "Hey, you're on this website" or anything. Nobody told me anything, so
Right.
out of curiosity, like it had been a couple weeks, and I was like, "Let me see if I'm on it." And then I went on there, and I saw my kneecaps, and I was like, "That's my knee. I know that knee from
I
anywhere
know
because it
that.
was
You're like,
shorts."
hey, that's a handsome
And
knee
then I
right
like
there.
swiped through the pictures of like this. Yeah, so it was me, and it was really weird. It was really weird. It was cool,
Yeah,
but just like seeing yourself, like it's crazy because like I don't know, it's something that I've always wanted to do, and like now seeing it finally happening, it's really cool.
that is so cool to see. I love like following. I brag a little bit because I know you a little personally, maybe not too much, not too much. We haven't had our little one-on-one hangouts or
Yeah.
go fishing or nothing like that like you do. But I know you a little bit personally. I mean, we come from Mansfield, so
Yeah,
growing up
the
in
train.
that,
I'm
yeah,
playing.
the
No,
trenches,
no, for real.
Murderfield.
From the hood.
Well, you mentioned walking on the runway. You said you did that for the first time when you were 8, 9 years old. Your mom kind of pushed you into that.
Right.
But now, older, I saw that you also did a runway show, which was also pretty cool.
Hmm.
What was the day like, preparing for that? Do you enjoy runway shoots? Are you still nervous? How you were maybe when you were a little
Hmm.
kid? What's that
Yeah.
like?
So I think nerves are always going to be a part of it, but that's kind of the part that I like. It's kind of like an adrenaline rush, whereas like if you're doing like a photo shoot, right? Like there's a small team of people around you, and like that's cool and it's exciting, but there's something about it like in real time you have to be on your A game, like, and like I come from a theater background, musical theater,
Mm-hmm.
and I did an award show for Dallas Summer Musicals, and actually I'm going to see Book of Mormon this weekend. I'm so
Oh,
excited.
that's so
But
awesome.
I performed there, and there was like 5,000 people there. And like when you step on stage, and we had to do like this group number, choreography, singing, acting, all that stuff. And like there's no redos, if
Right.
things don't, and like I was talking about those moving parts, everything comes together beautifully. And that's the cool thing about it. It's like at DIFA, which is the runway show
Mhm.
that I recently did, and the whole thing is it's this huge organization that does stuff for raising funds for AIDS research and stuff. So the cause was really cool, but the grand scale of that runway show was just it was insane. So there was 4,000 people there. It
Jeez.
was the biggest runway I've ever seen. First off, you're walking like so long. You're walking so long.
I know
So
I would
like,
trip, man. There's
and
no
I
way.
was in like Teen Pop was the scene that I was in. So like you walk out and at first it's like it was Backstreet Boys and you're walking to the music, right? And
Right.
the walk is so long that then it changes to Britney Spears and it's a different pace. And I'm like, oh God, I gotta change how I'm walking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so even though it's like it's not the same because you're not singing, dancing, and that kind of stuff, but still like the thrill of there being that many people is a really cool experience. But you asked me about prep, and what kind of ties into that is like the makeup artists, right?
Mhm.
The backstage directors, the let's see, the designers, the dressers, everybody doing their jobs and coming together to make things work. So if you look at those photos of what I was wearing,
Uh-huh.
they put me in a corset. I
It
had
was
never
out
been
of
in a
there.
corset before, and it
Uh-huh.
was pinned to a dress that was like pinned around my neck.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I don't know, I got some booby, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a girl or anything, but literally, like, the corset was like popping off of like it just kept breaking, and I was like freaking out. I was like, holy crap! Like every time I practice my walk because
It
I'm
had
doing
you
this
lifted.
thing at the end of the run, the end of the runway. I'm trying to do these posings, and it just I keep having these malfunctions and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and having a good team around me, the costume people, even the designer came and
Right.
was like, trying to help me out and stuff. And then literally, like, I wish I could show you backstage where I'm like literally just waiting to walk on. I'm holding it together, praying it does not come apart and have a nip slip like in front of
Right.
14,000 people. Because that literally was happening.
No
And
way.
it didn't. And like it kind of makes you appreciate when you watch something like that, how much work goes into it.
Yeah.
Design, costume, hair, makeup, directors, making sure everything is on pace and stuff. And then even the people who organize the event. I got to talk with David White. He was the president of DIFA.
Mhm.
And just hearing him like, and they start planning it like the whole year. Who's gonna come, who's gonna be special guests, and what the themes are gonna be and stuff. And then seeing it all come together is really cool.
Right. That's
But yeah.
sounds so complicated. Yeah, I see a lot of, I've worked on sets before. Not any kind of model sets or any photo shoot sets or anything like that, but like
Mhm.
video sets. And everything you see on the screen, it's so like easy, breezy, awesome.
Mhm.
Everything behind the scenes, it is a wreck. You got your people
Hectic,
yelling. Yeah, it's hectic.
chaotic.
People yelling. Where's so and so? Is your mic turned on?
Yeah.
Functions always going, so I know a
Mhm.
little bit of that process. Um,
Yeah.
but as a model, you work to stay fit, and you are very
Right.
proud of your body, hence the shirtless pics that we see all the time. And I'm sure some people are very excited to see that. But so you're a power lifter as well. So, that's how you keep your body fit. Did you start that in high school? Or is that something you also just kind of picked up like
Right.
a hobby?
So I got into lifting, I want to say, in middle school, and it was kind of off and on. I watched the movie, and this is a story for a lot of, young men growing up. They watched Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It came out when
Hmm.
he was like
Hmm.
prepping for the Olympia, and I was like, oh my gosh, like when I get older, I want to look like him.
Uh-huh.
And you see people like, The Rock or,
Right.
all these like movie stars and people
Mhm.
like, and you
They're
aspire to be
pumped.
like that and stuff. And I was kind of on and off with it. I just had so many things. I mean, like you were saying, triple threat or whatever. I just had so much going on that it
Mhm.
was hard to be consistent about it. Until probably I would say college, as soon as I started getting consistent, then COVID happened and all my gyms
Oh
closed and I
gosh,
couldn't
yeah.
do anything. I was like, oh my gosh. So it opened back up and I started going to this gym called the Pit. And that's where there was powerlifters. There was like world record holders, state record
Jeez,
holders.
that
The
was
kid who actually went to Lake Ridge in
huh.
Mansfield, his name's Adman, and he has all the state records. He weighs the same as me. Kid is 18, and he benches 400 pounds. He like squats in the 500s, and I'm just like, oh
That
my
is a
gosh.
huge
So like,
kid. Like,
yeah, no, but he's
gosh.
my size, and I'm like, I
Right.
don't know how you're doing because my ankles sound like popcorn when I wake up. I'm like, I don't know how you're
Like
doing it,
bubble
man.
wrap.
Like, when did you start?
Mhm.
But surrounding myself with people who were strong and who were really driven and stuff like that, and a gym that was like that really pushed me. And so it was probably last June was when I decided I was like, I really want to start powerlifting. I always worked out and I'm always been an active person, but
Uh-huh.
for competing in the sport, I started prepping with my old coach Adam in June, and I had my first meet in November, and it became a problem in a way because I had so much going on. I just wanted to compete so well. I wanted to make collegiate nationals, which was this past April, and I was in school for engineering. I was bartending,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing that, and I would be at the gym at like 3 a.m. instead of studying, and I just yeah. So
Dude.
I something had to give,
Yeah.
and at that time it was school, unfortunately, and that's why I had to take a break
Okay.
because I just and it sucked because I went to the meet and everything went perfectly. Like my coach was like it's that grind that I think that I'm addicted to that I was telling
Right.
you earlier. Like
Uh-huh.
all these moving parts, everything coming together. It's like you can't just like show up at meet day and expect a miracle to happen. Like you have to every workout that you miss is like a percentage off of what you can do when
Right.
you need to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
you step behind there's literally a stage. You step on stage in front of a crowd of people and it's nothing but you and gravity.
Right.
And if you didn't do the prep, then you're not going to pick up the weight, you know?
Right.
And that's that thrill that I like in modeling. That's that thrill I like in acting. It's that like that kind of yeah, it's like an adrenaline rush. But yeah. And so unfortunately with modeling, they want me to because the market's a little bit different. I feel like I'm rambling. I'm so
No, no,
sorry.
no, no,
But
no, no. Go. No, no, no.
so with
Not at
the
all.
agency that I'm in, they are both in LA and Dallas.
Okay.
And Dallas is a lot more commercial.
Right.
If you talk to people in this industry, that's what they're going to tell you. It's more so like, J.C. Penney, Dillard's, Academy, that kind of stuff. It's less high fashion, like, Gucci, Louis, Goyard, all that stuff. It's not really that Dallas isn't really that scene. And so for commercial work, um, they're very particular about you being a certain size and shape because they get samples from different companies
Mm-hmm.
in specific sizes.
Okay.
And if you don't fit those sizes, then they're gonna find somebody else who fits it. You know what I mean? That's just how they're gonna
That's
work
just how
it.
it
And
goes.
so yeah. And so unfortunately, like I'm not gonna be able to compete this year because I'm gonna have to lose weight, which
Uh.
is kind of weird because like growing up I was always like a skinny person.
Uh-huh.
And I watched
Yeah,
Pumping
dude. I
Iron
remember you
like
in
a
high
rock, and I'm
school.
like, yeah, I was scrawny and I was also on a lot of Adderall. But anyways, well, it's the only way I was getting through school.
Uh-huh.
But it was so I'm finally, I put in the work and I finally built a physique that I'm proud of. And then as soon as I get it, I'm like, now I have to lose all that weight again. And, like, which I like, you need to lose something to gain something, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's all part of like, I know that whenever I'm not doing this anymore, I can gain it back, muscle memory and stuff.
Mhm.
But it is kind of hard to change a mindset that you've had for your whole life. Like eat more, get bigger, blah, 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 like build muscle. And then now it's like, nope, you need to lose weight. No, you need to curb all those
Just a
habits that
back
you
and
have.
forth, back and forth.
Yeah. But I mean, in another way, like it's kind of a new challenge. Like I can do things like I used to run cross country and track. Maybe I can start running again. That's something that could, help me keep my weight in
Contribute.
check and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. It's kind of another way to look at it is it's another challenge for me to feel that kind of that something that's like therapeutic, that drive. Like instead of it being powerlifting, I can set new goals like
Right.
running or boxing or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's important. Just always setting like new goals for yourself if things
Yeah,
change.
for sure. You seem like you know how to juggle things like pretty well, which is something
I try.
I kudos you for. Like you said, something had to give. You had to stop, take a break from school for a bit, but focus on another thing. And then that doesn't mean,
Right.
like you said, you're not going back or anything like that. Have you started going back to school, or you're still on your break for it?
But so I'm starting up this fall.
Okay.
And what I was doing was because I was on scholarship, so I had to be full time at UTA
Oh,
and
okay.
doing that, and then everything else that I wanted to do because I'm
That's a
also
lot of
working.
time taken up.
Yeah, no, definitely, and like in working, and I'm also a dog dad. My dog is he's asleep, but he's on my foot right now. You know, I mean, like everything, there's only so many minutes in the day, you know what I mean? And like, if you don't compartmentalize and prioritize like what is important to you, then the day is just going to go by and you're going to fail at all things, you know?
Right.
And it sucks because like, I'm sure a lot of people are in this position where they're passionate about so many things, and to kind of close yourself off to this is what I'm going to do for like the rest of my life. It can sound scary,
Yes.
like, because what if I end up not liking it? You know, what if that isn't what I want to do with the rest of my life? And I spent 4 years on this degree, you know what I mean? And so I'm in this boat, which I feel like a lot of people are in, where, you know, eventually it's going to be a crossroads, but I know that like, I'm confident that if I don't go for this thing right now, I know that for the rest of my life, I'm just going to think about like, why didn't I do this? What could have happened if I tried, you know?
Right.
And that kind of pushes me to do both, because I want to have that security for myself and for, you know, my family in the future. But if I don't go for this acting modeling career, I just know that, you know, when I get older, I'm just gonna look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it could have really
Right.
been.
You don't want to live with the what ifs.
Exactly. Yeah.
That, you know, from where the Millers, and he's like, no regrets, and it's all spelled, regrets is spelled not correct.
No regret. Yeah, no, definitely.
No regrets.
Get
that tatted.
Definitely.
So with juggling all of, you know, your modeling, your powerlifting, you also said you were a theater kid, so you're also kind of in acting. All of that, on top of all that, you are also, you know, a videographer, not a videographer, sorry, a photographer.
Yes.
And you take photos. Your photos are amazing, very high quality, developed.
Thank you.
You got some good models in there. That must be from the modeling gigs, I'm assuming. You got some hookups in that. But talk to me about that as well, aside from powerlifting and modeling.
So the cool thing about photography is it kind of goes hand in hand with the modeling, the acting, that kind of stuff, because what it does for me is it kind of strengthens my skills as both a model and a photographer, right? Because working with other photographers as a model, everybody approaches a set, everybody approaches a photo shoot differently. Right. And so seeing their approach to taking photos in their workflow and stuff like that, I can find things that like the next time I'm taking somebody's photos, oh, I really like how they did the modeling, or I really like how they posed this person, played with lighting, played with their composition, like, and framed them using like environment to tell a story, not just this is a really good technical shot, like something that makes you think, you know? And on the flip side of that, maybe the person who I'm photographing has like a unique pose or like a shape, or maybe they just shifted a certain way, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can totally integrate that into my flow. And it's kind of cool because it's something that like I was saying earlier, it strengthens both sides of it, and being a part of that creative process is really cool. I will say there's definitely parts of it I don't like. For example, like I know a lot of people who shoot weddings. Luckily, I got to shoot a wedding recently, and it was actually really fun. But there are some situations that are so stressful, and there's some things that are out of your control that make shooting difficult, right? Like I didn't have this experience, but you know, some people were telling me like, oh, I'm shooting a wedding, and like this the bride's mom or something like that is like, you know how helicopter moms are, you know what I mean? Because it's like the most important day of your life. So everything has to be perfect. And if something isn't perfect, or I don't capture a moment, like I'm gonna live with missing a moment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Capturing the most important moment of somebody's life. You know, and so wedding photography is really cool. The money's really cool, but it's really stressful. You know what I mean? But on the flip side, like you're a student, I'm sure you see people taking like graduation photos on campus and stuff like that, and that's also cool. But like I like doing things that like, because it's so easy to just like post somebody the same and like just stand here and smile, you know what I mean? And
right.
you just take
a shot like...
and make the lighting is fine and the composition's fine or whatever, but like finding new ways to challenge yourself, I mean, that's what I'm about. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, if it's something
Yeah.
athletic, creative, in school, something, just something that pushes me, you know?
Right. I love that you mentioned, you kind of took the question that I was going to ask you right out of my mouth. I love that you mentioned
Okay.
how photography and modeling, you know, they kind of go hand in hand.
Right.
That and so from being a photographer, I guess you mentioned it earlier, but you said it does basically help you whenever you're in front of the camera modeling. You kind of think about the way, you know, maybe a photographer might like this person to pose or in this setting and whatnot. So you feel like it does help you.
Yeah, of course. Like, I mean, from a technical standpoint, like
Yeah.
understanding how light is going to affect the subject, right? When you're taking
Right.
a photo, knowing that and then being the subject gives you an advantage because you can make yourself look more like flattering, or however you need to change yourself because you know your angles, right?
Right.
Like if you watch models on sets, and this is
Mhm.
something that I had to learn myself, but like watching models on sets, it's not like you stand and hold a pose for like a second. They're flowing, they're always moving, they're always
Yeah.
finding a new angle, switching levels and that kind of stuff. And it's like having more tools, right? Like
Mm.
if if I develop a flow and I know which angles make me look the best or which things like might look cool with the lighting that they're using or what kind of concept we want to go with. Like if my person is supposed to be like, I don't know, super happy, like say it's like a group shot with like me and just the dudes or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. You know, like that energy and that is gonna be, and how I pose myself is gonna be a lot different than if I'm supposed to be like serious or something. And you see a lot of guys like posing they do like the, you know what I mean, the look at,
The
and
rock eyebrow.
it's kind of weird to watch like them get into the flow, but it's, yeah, I mean it's,
Everybody has
I
their own
think
way
it's,
of getting into that character.
yeah, the more you know about the environment that you're going to be in as a model, then the easier it is to um, thrive in it. I know that's kind of not a good, what's a good way to put it? Yeah, the more you know about those moving parts, then the easier it is to put it together. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That, I don't know if that analogy
No,
makes
I
sense,
got it.
but yeah, like knowing photography, knowing lighting, composition, and then knowing like you're posing ahead of time, what kind of theme and character you want to get into for the photo shoot. Like the better prep you are, the
Mhm.
better prepped you are, then the better the outcome's going to be, you know?
Yeah. With prepping, do you ever like sit in your room and just put some music on and like pose?
You know what?
You're
I
just like,
thought about, what's funny is like I thought about that and I was like, damn, like maybe I should like practice doing that more.
uh-huh.
But like I honestly don't. What I'm really doing is I'm like on set, and which by the way, when you're on set, you're sitting way more than like you think you're going to be. Like you're there like all day, like, and you're maybe shooting for like 30 minutes, right? So
Right.
like in my downtime, I'm watching the other models work. And
Okay.
if I see something that I like, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh, maybe I should try that. Maybe I should try what he did with his hand. Maybe I should try like how he's kind of looking off or like his focal point or something like that. Like I try to take those cues. But in terms of like being home and like practicing, I really don't, which is something I probably should do more. Um, because honestly, like the more times that you practice in, the more it's like muscle memory, then I
Mhm.
mean, the better you're gonna be at it, right?
Right. True.
I will say one thing that was weird was runway walking. I
Ooh.
was like,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
didn't
That's
really think that there was really much to it. I thought that you
right.
just kind of walked and like, no, no, not really.
Have
Like
you
your
seen
posture
people
has
like
to be,
get on Kendall Jenner for walking?
no, honestly, I don't. Gosh, maybe I should watch that, but no, I
They're
haven't.
just
Why?
so
What is her walk kind of
no,
weird?
they're just because you know Kendall Jenner, she's a model and whatnot, and so
Right. Yeah.
it would people on Twitter would be are so mean to her, and they're like, she doesn't know how to walk. Like this is comparing her to Bella Hadid or whatnot. They're like, this is what a model should look like and how they should
Yeah.
walk and whatnot. So you say it's funny that you say you didn't think that there was any, I guess, prep or practice to
Yeah.
walking on a runway,
Mhm.
because I know I would need some practice on that walk.
Yeah. Definitely.
Or I'll be walking
I
like.
mean, yeah. It probably work. It probably work. Well, I hit up my agent Lauren before the show and I asked her if she could kind of look at my walk and see like
Mhm.
what I need to work on, or work on rather. And I didn't realize everything that kind of went into it, especially like posture, pace, focal point, you're posing your turns, that kind of stuff. and it all has to match, like I was saying, the vibe, right? So like in that show, there was like 8 themes. Like I was in teen pop, but there was an EDM one, there was 80s, there was hip hop, there was, so your walk kind of has to go with, you know, it's getting into that character, right?
Right.
So this upcoming I have an upcoming runway show Saturday, and there's going to be a contemporary, whatever that means. That's like so vague, like contemporary, what, that's like modern art, that can be anything, you know what I mean? And then there's a Western one. So at the audition, they wanted me to do a Western walk and kind of incorporate personality into the walk that went with that theme. And I was like, honestly, it was like improv. I was like, what does that even mean? I don't know. And like, luckily I went like third or fourth. So there was a couple guys who went, which I wasn't going to steal whatever they did, but they were, you know, walking, they were pretending to like lasso somebody from the crowd, you know, just having fun with it. Like, okay, cool. Like, it's not just like walk, look serious, look like you fucking
walk,
you know what I mean? It's fun when you can actually like breathe a little, move a little, like do something different than just walk with clothes on, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm excited for that. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do, but yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Figure it out. You have some fun with it. You have some fun with it. So definitely. It's no secret that you are a busy guy. Whenever you're not acting or doing any kind of photography or modeling or powerlifting, what are things that you like to do to relax? When you have a day off, what do you like to do?
To relax. So that's changed. That's definitely changed over the years. So one thing that was definitely a big change. So I've always been an active person, and going to the gym and stuff like that has always been like a release. But when you have like a competition coming up, it's like every workout counts. Like if I don't feel good this day, the weight's not moving, my back is hurting, like my diet's been off, blah, blah, blah. It stresses you out. So in a place where like it used to be therapeutic, it used to be a stress relief, working out, I was stressed there, I was stressed in the classroom, I was stressed at work, I was stressed at home. So like I would have to find new ways. Now like I go on really long walks with my dog. Like I find that therapeutic, you know. I mean, let's see what else. That's a tough question. Why is that tough? It's not a tough question, but I'm like, yeah, what do I do to relax, for real?
You're like, dude, I just sit in the dark.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a really like social person too. I mean, I don't know if that's like, if that counts really, but I really like, you know, hanging out with friends, having a couple drinks, you know. Or I used to be a social smoker. I used to be a huge pothead whenever I got to college. But I figured I was so much less productive when I was high. Like,
dude, I didn't want to go down that loophole because I can talk about that with you for like
so I kind of had to change that. Like, I can, you know what's funny? I find it relaxing though now. So like I won't smoke socially, but at home, I'll smoke a bowl and then like do laundry or like clean.
Exactly.
So, oh my gosh, like
you put it on your light tunes.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just in your moment. So we're coming up on about 4 minutes left now. So more question I want to ask you. What is some advice you would give to people who are either in the modeling industry and they're young, or just people in, you know, the media industry in general, or entertainment industry in general? What is some advice?
So I would say consistency and patience. So DragonFly was not the first agency I went to. And I went to open calls. I sent photos to different places. I had dead ends a lot of places, you know, and I would meet with photographers, creative directors, and collab with them and stuff like that. And I would feel so discouraged when I would go to an open call and I'd feel like that interview went really well, but I'm not what they're looking for, you know? But now I am signed and I'm doing everything that I wanted to do. And actually I work with a lot of the people who work at those agencies who turn me away. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, well, I'm at the same places I was gonna be. So, you know, and so, I mean, just because you take a no, that doesn't mean that that's going to be the end all be all. You know, like if that's something that you're really passionate about, whatever your craft is, whether it's modeling or something in that industry, or, you know, whatever you're doing, like it's really easy to get discouraged. But I mean, you never know. It just takes a foot in the door. It just takes one person to see something in you to, you know, get you started in whatever you want to do. And then, yeah, just the patience thing. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight. I've been trying to, you know, get into this thing since like last November. It took me months of, you know, working with photographers and applying places and all that stuff. But it literally just takes one person to say yes, you know? So,
Yeah.
I mean, keep at it with whatever you're passionate about, you know?
I love that. Well, coming up on 2 minutes, we are gonna wrap it up. But what do you have going on next? What do you have going on next? And where can everybody find you? Where can they follow you at?
Okay. So Instagram, it's just my name, Aaron Cups, Aaron Cupps. You can find me on TikTok, the same name. You'll find Twilight TikToks, a bunch of random stuff. There's no really order to it. But oh my God. What's coming up next? Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, right now it's school, bookings, and then trying to branch out, right? So I mentioned I'm in the Dallas market right now, but that's not where I want to stop. I want to go New York, LA, Milan, Miami, Paris, as many places as I can.
Dude, I can
work with those
totally
two
see
brands,
it.
you know?
I can totally see it for sure.
I appreciate that. But I mean, who knows? You know what I mean? Like I said, it just takes one person, and hopefully I find them soon, and hopefully, you know, I get to go to those places and stuff.
Manifest it, man. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be on the finer things and let me interview you. You are an awesome dude. You have nothing but success striving towards you. And I will be a supporter always. Also, I see your girlfriend in the back earlier, so tell her if she can hear. Hi, how you doing? Sorry you have to deal with my cousin. He's crazy, but
he's great.
He's awesome. But I hope to hang out with you guys sometime soon. It's probably going to cut us off.
Yeah, he flaked. We were actually supposed to come see you, but you know,
it's
priorities, I guess.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
I appreciate you for having me. Seriously.
Of course. Have a good rest of your day, guys. Thank you again.
Take it easy.
Bye.